Coming up on today's Airborne, Ohio capital budget includes funds for a historic Wright Brothers factory. GAMA praises the European Commission, EASA, for simplifying GA pilots licensing. And a massive California solar plant may be a hazard to navigation.
Hi folks, sorry to break in on you like this, but we've just learned that the FAA and EAA have reached something of an agreement that will cover the next 9 years and allow the FAA to continue to provide services to EAA for the AirVenture fly-in, but it also means that EAA, 1, has to withdraw its suit, 2, not sue them anymore, and yeah, they're paying for it. While there does seem to be some discounting and there does seem to be some agreements about how they're going to be assessing these costs in the future, as well as some cost containment measures, it appears that somebody blinked, and frankly, it looks like they blinked a little bit on both sides. We don't have all the details yet outside of some limited statements from EAA and some copies of some of the documentation. We will be briefed by EAA this afternoon, and you can read about it on Aero-News and as well as on the Monday edition of Airborne when we have more information to provide. However, the fact of the matter is this. The 2014 version of AirVenture was in doubt. The lawsuit was still going on. There was some real question about what costs were going to be assessed. For no other reason than sheer survival, it appears that the EAA decided that some cost containment and some guarantees were better than the uncertainty that it faced. So for the moment, there will be an AirVenture 2014. There's still a lot of questions about the FAA's conduct in this. The EAA still believes that it was right and still believes it had a good court case. In the long run, it appears they voted for some sense of continuity and sense of security rather than the uncertainty that's followed them over the past year. According to EAA's Jack Pelton, quote, "We had an excellent legal argument within our court petition that no doubt moved the FAA to discuss a long-term solution." He added that we maintain that the FAA does not have the authority to assess fees for ATC services, but the absence of a permanent political solution left EAA and all participants and exhibitors vulnerable to FAA non-participation in this year's event and potentially in succeeding years. On balance, we had to take this action in order to ensure the continuation of AirVenture in the best interest of our members and their investment in EAA. We don't know if this is the camel's nose under the tent. We don't know how this affects other air shows, events, and for that matter, a whole raft of services that the FAA seems to be ready to foist upon us at every turn. One thing's for sure, the FAA is not our friend. They've got their hand out, the hand that we see anyway. The other hand, well, watch out, it's on your wallet. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne, and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell, and believe me, we're asking lots of questions. We'll get right back to you.
A few months ago, we covered the story about the plan in Dayton, Ohio, to preserve 2 of the Wright Brothers' original factory buildings. The Wright Company buildings stand on a 20-acre historic parcel that's part of the 54 acres former Delphi Auto Parts manufacturing plant. We now have good news on the progress of this project. Efforts to secure and restore the historic Wright Brothers airplane factory have led to the project being included in Ohio's capital budget bill. The budget bill for fiscal year 2015 and 2016 includes $250,000 to acquire and secure the 2 Wright Company buildings for eventual use by the National Park Service. The FAA rules for pilot certification may seem complicated, but when compared to the European rules for certification, the FAA looks pretty good. However, the European Commission has published a significant update to European Aviation Safety Agency aircrew rules. The new regulation takes an important first step forward in simplifying general aviation pilots' licensing in Europe. The rule establishes a new framework for instrument rating certification, which establish a more proportional path for instrument flight operations for typical GA pilots. Additionally, the regulation simplifies the transition of those European pilot license holders that need to convert their pilot's license. You're watching Airborne. We'll be back after these messages with more news and our feature of the day.
ADS-B will be mandatory for most aircraft by 2020 in the United States, but you can benefit from ADS-B today. with the Bendix King KT-74 Mode S transponder. The KT-74 meets the global mandates for ADS-B out when attached to a suitable WAAS GPS. Rebuilding the sport aviation world one aviator at a time. That's A&N's new Aerosports ebook series, your resource guide to the ultimate in aviation adventures. Aerosport will feature the straight skinny on learning and enjoying 16 unique aviation sports, from ultralights and ballooning to aerobatics, gyroplanes and hang gliders to parachuting, home builds and general aviation to RC models. All this and more will be coming soon with the new updatable Aerosport guide for your favorite electronic devices. Get your advance order in now at www.aero-sport.net.
Welcome back. If you'd like to suggest a story for Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or podcast, drop an email to news-spy@aero-news.net. It may sound like a good idea to collect energy from the sun and convert it to thermal energy on Earth, but there are few who say doing so is a glaring error. The Ivanpah Solar Energy Plant in San Bernardino County, California, consists of 173,500 large mirrors that reflect sunlight onto 3 towers over 450 feet tall, which contain boilers where steam is generated. It's the world's largest solar thermal plant and is the epitome of green energy. However, NASA's Aviation Safety Reporting System recently received 2 complaints about the plant. One came from a pilot and the other was from an air traffic controller. Both mentioned blinding glare from the solar plant. A local pilot reportedly said that pilots can simply, quote, turn your head and don't look at it, end quote, and that the problem quickly goes away as the airplane moves over the facility. The FAA said it is, quote, aware of potential glare from solar plants and is exploring how to best alert pilots to the issue, end quote. It's Friday and time for our weekly Barnstorming commentary. This week, Jim talks about the news media frenzy surrounding the loss of flight MH370. Jim blames the abysmal coverage on what he calls Insta-Pundits. Here's this week's Barnstorming.
Thanks, Ashley, and hi, folks. Well, I've just completed my 52nd or 53rd interview with the general media over the disappearance of Malaysia Flight 370. I've lost count of how many I've actually done at this point. There have been way too many. In many cases, there's a tremendous amount of question, a great deal of curiosity, and a real lack of information. I can't tell you how many times I've said, I don't know. I'm telling you, the thing that bothers me the most is I'm actually at this point proud to say that. We don't have enough information. There is a tremendous amount of data that's being expended as if it's credible, but with no information to support its credibility. It went north, it went south, it's down, it's up. Captain did this, the first officer did that, there's this element, that element. Not since Amelia Earhart have we seen a disappearance that has this kind of potential for creating a true mythology around it. With luck, something will be found out, and the grieving families, the hundreds of people, thousands of people affected by this will someday get some closure. I can tell you in no uncertain terms that losing somebody in an aircraft accident is just one of the most tragic events in your life. But the way the aviation industry is supporting the general media's insatiable need for some kind of data, no matter what its credibility or its basis may be, is really quite shameful. I'm watching so many instant experts, commercial pilot and flight instructors. Yeah, there's a 777 expert for you. At least some of these folks can pronounce aileron. And God help us when they trot out Scary Mary. But the plain fact of the matter is this. This is an industry that is based on technical acuity, on credibility, on comprehensive knowledge of the facts at hand. And right now we look like idiots. We need, as an industry, to be very careful about what we say. We need to be willing to say, I don't know. And most of all, we need to be willing to say one thing. We look forward to more supported and substantiated facts so that the responsible authorities can reach a probable cause. That's all that really needs to be said in the long run. I hope it gets said a lot more often, because what I see out there right now is not doing aviation any favors. Neither is it doing any favors for the families of those on board Malaysia Flight 370. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell.
In a world where businesses live or perish based on their ability to communicate, Gogo's business aviation group, Aircel, has unveiled the ST-4300 communication system for business aircraft to keep the communication lines open. The ST-4300 combines voice, narrowband data, and cockpit data link services into a single unit. The system allows business aircraft operators to configure cabin and flight deck communications based on their specific needs and budgets. It provides global service coverage on the ground and in the air, at all altitudes and latitudes, including the polar regions. In the future, the ST-4300 is expected to meet certification eligibility for the Future Air Navigation System, known as FANS. FANS technologies allow flight crews and air traffic controllers to exchange safety-sensitive flight information, such as clearances, request, and position reporting via digital data link. Initial ST-4300 system shipments are expected to begin in June of 2014. You're watching Airborne. We'll be back after these messages.
Redbird Skyport is a multifaceted aviation laboratory charged with developing innovative solutions to the issues facing the industry.
It started out as a vision for a laboratory where we could objectively measure the systems and the processes that we were developing. Being able to put some objective measures behind the anecdotal evidence that we have about the value of motion and the application of this technology is very, very important, because until we can objectively measure it and play that data back, we can't design training systems that make the best use of it.
For more information about Redbird flight simulations, as well as Redbird's new Skyport, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com or www.redbirdskyport.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to support Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or our podcast, drop an email to jim@aero-news.net. Hartzell Propeller is introducing 2- and 3-blade versions of its new swept-tip Trailblazer prop for experimental aircraft and a number of certificated aircraft models. Tom Patton reports.
The new Hartzell Trailblazer swept-tip propellers are designed to maximize performance of the numerous aircraft, both certified and amateur-built, specifically designed for bush and backcountry flying. The 2-blade version is compatible with most Lycoming 360 and 390 series engines with no placards or restrictions. A 3-blade version is available for higher horsepower applications. In addition, Hartzell says it's working with numerous aircraft manufacturers to pursue approval to install the new Trailblazer propeller on certified aircraft. The swept-tip scimitar-shaped airfoil is designed for optimal takeoff acceleration and climb performance, resulting in an increase of 80 to 100 feet per minute climb rate versus a 3-blade wood core propeller. The thin, stiff airfoil design that is possible when utilizing aerospace composites allows improved low-speed thrust while achieving a 3-knot cruise speed improvement over wood core props. Hartzell says the Trailblazer's all-carbon fiber construction features an innovative mesh erosion shield and field-replaceable nickel-cobalt leading edge, ensuring it can withstand demanding backcountry and bush flying. For Airborne, I'm Tom Patton.
We all love EAA AirVenture Oshkosh, and if you think it looks good as a visitor, consider the idea of becoming an insider with the Aero-News network. Each year, ANN shows up with our regular professional crew, but we can't just get it all done without the help of others. We call these helpers stringers. The Aero Stringer program allows promising writers and photographers with a true passion for aviation to come aboard and help us cover the Oshkosh experience and keep us in touch with the true rank and file of the aviation world. If interested, please send samples of your stories and photos, along with a little background information and your spring-summer availability. And just in case you don't think you're qualified, we also need a high-energy gopher for Oshkosh. We promise to run your butt off and make you feel darn good about it. Please send your information to jim@aero-news.net. Well, that's our program. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Please remember, Airborne is streamed 3 times a week and is always online. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a new edition of Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.